Well, Berlin police are working on the assumption that the truck was intentionally driven into the crowd. Two witnesses at the Christmas market too believe it was a deliberate act, as the truck driver didn't appear to make any attempt to stop.
It happened so fast there was nothing we could do to stop it, and if we tried to stop it we would have been crushed. Definitely looked deliberate. My girlfriend said it appeared that the truck was not stopping. There was no attempt to stop. It was careering in, definitely bashing into the stalls where people would be facing the stalls, and then carried on through. There was no particular police around at the time because everybody was happy. It just carried on through. I think it was stopped by just bits of scenery and truck inside it. So, not truck inside it, sorry, bits of scenery and bits of stalls inside the truck. So it appeared to be stopped just outside the market, having looped through the edge. There was no attempt. When you see a truck, when it's braking, the cab dibs down, doesn't it? But when it's not braking, it carries on up. And it didn't look like it was stopping. There was no brake sounds. It was clearly going straight on through. So whether it was a driver who was just drunk and going through, or whether it was lost control of the vehicle, or whether it was a deliberate attempt, I can't tell you, but there was no attempt to stop that we could see. It was definitely carrying on.
Terror has no borders. It's like you cannot be safe anywhere. I mean, I come from a destroyed place, and I'm here to witness this, and like to feel like death is following you everywhere. It's not easy. Actually, we didn't know what happened first. We tried to ask people, and nobody knew actually because they were in shock. There are people like running this way. We tried to go the opposite way to see what happened, and we didn't actually see it as it was running through people, but we saw it parking. It was like a Scania truck. Yeah, it was a big one, and the glass was broken, and the windshield was smashed.
Well, German media is reporting that the suspect is believed to be a 23-year-old man from Pakistan. The Polish owner of the truck said earlier that he feared the vehicle may have been hijacked. With more now from the scene, here's Peter Oliver.
A truck ploughed into revellers at a Christmas market here in the German capital, just behind me, right in the centre of Berlin. People had come out and had been enjoying a Christmas evening, a seasonal evening. We're hearing reports of what happened at the scene from those that were first to arrive here, of a gruesome scene of people that had been crushed by this truck as it went through there. Now, police here have one person in custody. Now, these type of incidences we have seen in the past where they've been directly linked to the Islamic State organization. We have seen this happen in France at the same type of Christmas market, whereby a vehicle has been driven into the crowds at that market in order to try and injure and kill people there. And of course it is all too reminiscent of the terrible terrorist attack that took place earlier in this year, in which 80 people were killed in Nice.
Well, as Peter mentioned there, the attack in Berlin is similar to that massacre in the French resort city of Nice. In both incidents, a truck was deliberately driven into crowds. Both attacks happened in an area full of tourists and foreigners too, and immediately after the attacks, authorities were accused of security failings. The former mayor of Nice has voiced his solidarity with the people of Berlin.
Tonight, my thoughts are indignant, and my heart is with Berlin.
Earlier this month, Europol, the European Union's law enforcement agency, warned that Islamic State was likely to carry out more terror attacks in the EU.
This is the most serious terrorist threat we've faced in Europe for at least a decade. And even in the last 6 months, I think, we're faced by a determined new strategy by Islamic State to take the fight to Europe, to our streets, with a more aggressive form of international terrorism.
In November, the US State Department issued a Europe travel alert saying that the risk of terror attacks on the continent remains high, and it advised people to exercise caution at holiday festivals and outdoor markets. The Foreign Office also told British travellers to Germany to remain vigilant at Christmas markets and other major events that might attract large crowds. Meanwhile, the President of the European Centre for Information Policy, Riccardo Baretsky, believes that it was actually ineptitude on the part of the authorities that allowed the devastating crash in Berlin to occur.
I think this is a total lack of incompetency in managing public security risk. And we have said this, we can see this has been a trend over more than a year and is proven to be absolutely correct. The danger that I have to pay attention is to management of the security risk, and we don't see much happening in a proper way. And there's a lot of talk and toy about this, but we don't see really much being done. And the reality is, people is losing their lives, and the whole situation is rather very serious and has escalated in the last year. This is a security risk management problem. And the real problem here is not the information or the intelligence, is the ability to manage the risk in public spaces. And unless they can manage the risk in public spaces, this will escalate one way or another. Because it's not only about the terror threat as such, but it's also about the present risk situation when you are in public spaces. So there's a lot of factors, it sends a lot of signals, and this is very dangerous in the sense that if I can't manage this, it will escalate.
And of course, we will be following events throughout in Berlin throughout the day here on RT.